Streblow Comedy Show. The Minicast.
Let's go to the phones. It's Devin Henderson. I haven't had you on yet, sir. Welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks, man. It's good to be here, Darren.
Oh, you're funny. I enjoy your stuff. So it's nice to have you call in. I feel honored. Honored to have you on the show.
Wow, I appreciate that, man. It means a lot coming from you, my man.
Oh, what a nice thing to say. Very good. Should we end the conversation here right now since it's going so well?
That's what you told me to say. So I've done my job, right?
That is correct. That is correct.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done, sir. No, I'm sure you have something on your mind. That's why you called in.
I do, man. Like you, I'm married. You know how fun that is.
Yes. Yes, it is.
And my wife's off. I think you're ahead of me in the game a little bit. I've been married 10 years.
10 years, yeah. I'm about twice that. Yeah.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
A little more than twice that. I've been married 130 years. So
okay.
I'm quite a veteran. So I'm good to give you advice here. So
okay, cool. Well, that's why I called in. I need, I heard you're good at this kind of thing. So
okay.
I'll do this. But, man, you've heard people say, like, the first year's the hardest, right?
Yeah.
And it's the first 10. I don't know. I love her, though. She's great. Well, she keeps me straight, man. She pushes me to do things I don't want to do. Like, she's like, hey, let's eat better. I'm like, let's not. But I'm like, I can do this. Let's eat better.
Yeah.
Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
That's my idea of eating better. And that garlic butter sauce, man, that's a good appetizer.
You're well on your way to a life of health. Yeah, Papa John's. Yeah. Absolutely.
I know,
it's
dude.
Delicious. It's delicious. Wow. Absolutely.
It's amazing, man. No, but she likes to go to the health food store, and the other day she brought home some asparagus. And exactly, man. I'm like, really? She's like, Devin, asparagus improves your memory. I've told you that over and over and over. But it's true, by the way, because I started eating it, and I started, remembering all kinds of stuff. I was like, oh, yeah. Now I remember. I have a gag reflex. Thank you, asparagus. Thank you. Honestly, man. But man, here's something you might not know. I have 4 kids. They're all girls.
All girls.
Yeah, all girls, man.
Wow.
Yeah, remind me, you have a couple.
I have 4 boys.
Wait a minute, seriously? You have 4 boys?
That's right. Dude! Do you want to talk contracts?
Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Wait, we didn't plan this. I didn't know you had 4 boys. I am getting excited now, man.
And that is exactly what your girls want to hear, that their father has another comedian that's a friend who has boys. I was like, sign me up. I can't wait to marry one of those boys. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we have to figure out ages here. Okay, so how old's your oldest one?
He's in college now, so.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so mine's 9, so that's going to work out.
Oh, I think by the time he matures, I think that's going to be. Oh wait, he's shooting me really daggers right now. I think we should. We'll talk contracts. I'll send cattle, whatever it's got to happen.
Yeah. Dude, I can't wait till we can get coffee and talk about the differences, because I'm telling you, 4 girls, man. It's like, by the way, I'm going to go ahead and let the can out. We actually are pregnant again.
Oh, congratulations!
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Well done.
A month along. Yeah. So I don't know, but the 4-girl thing, it's crazy. Now, we've also tried adoption, but no one would take 4 girls. No thanks, man. We're just going to go adopt a wild pack of hyenas instead. That'll be easier. So here's a question for you then. Did you guys ever, what kind of births did you do? Were they at home? Were they in the hospital?
No, that was just all the hospital. We weren't taking any chances. Because we wanted them to get some kind of infectious disease, and we didn't think we could give that to them at home. So
yeah, yeah, exactly. That's smart. Well, with this last one, Elsie, she'll be 2 just in a couple of days, and my wife came to me when she was about 6 months pregnant. She's like, I want to do something different with this birth. And I was like, hit me. And she said, no, that's getting old. But she goes, I want to have this baby at home.
Oh.
And I was like, yeah, let's do this, Laura Ingalls. And then afterwards we'll go covered wagon shopping, and I but
you're so open to new ideas, Devin. That's very inspiring.
And we homeschool. So I'm telling you, we do everything at home. So as soon as we homeschooled, I was like, we may as well have a baby at home,
Yeah,
but
right.
So we hired this midwife.
Okay.
Midwife comes over, drops off this huge inflatable looking thing. I'm like, what is that? She goes, well, you're going to blow this up and you're going to have the baby in this. And I was like, that is genius. Bouncy castle. Yes. Just get her jumping up and down. There won't even be labor. It'll just be like, there's the baby. And that was a party. And that was cool.
These midwives are onto something.
Yeah, I know. Hey, friend, we gotta patent this. This is a good idea. But it was a pool because we were gonna have a water birth.
Oh, okay.
You've heard of these, right?
Yes,
like
I have.
They have the babies in water, so it's like a home water birth. And I was like, cool. We're gonna do it like a whale. Yeah. I know, and I said it out loud, and I was just being, but I said whale, Darren. I said whale.
Why? How is it that you're still able to talk to me and not eating your food through a straw right now?
Well, I bought a lot of ice cream since then, and I know. I haven't had my way since. But, this story's getting too long, but I'll just tell you, man, the baby, everything went great because, you're scared things are going to happen. The baby came out of the water, and then the midwife's like, hey, Daddy, go get the baby. Right? They want me to get the baby, so I just lean over to the edge, and I go, Marco! Marco, little baby! 9 pounds, 20 inches, dude.
Oh, congratulations.
Thanks,
well done.
Man. Big babies, big heads, just big all the way around, so... It was beautiful. It was awesome, man. The rest of the summer, kids had an indoor pool.
No, that's nice. I bet they were anxious to dive in there.
Yeah. We don't have any more, though, man. We got rid of it on Craigslist. That's the proper way to dispose.
That's a good idea. This is Devin Henderson. Check out his link at our website, DarenStreblow.com. Devin, I need to hear from you regularly, your exploits, your adventures. So please call me again soon.
You got it, man. Thank you, Darren.
Your business needs a great website. Your business does not need to build it yourself. Corporations have crumbled over the words, we know a guy. You don't need a guy. You need a strategy. You need a vision. You need a professional partner who knows how to get you where you need to be. That's Cross and Crown. We'll deliver a custom site packed with features like content management, SEO, analytics, and handcrafted coding. And Cross and Crown websites don't cost a lot or take long to build. Remember, we're pros. Look, if you're really into the whole let's do it ourselves to try and save a buck thing, you're better off grinding your own store brand beans to make office coffee, or switch to 2-ply in the executive washroom. At least then the only people who'll notice are internal. Cut corners on a do-it-yourself site, and the whole world wide knows it. Learn more. Talk with the pros. Visit Cross and Crown online at cacpro.com. cacpro.com.
When the Lord's Resistance Army came to our homestead, I was very scared. We knew that we couldn't stay in the huts anymore. My name is Olive Aneno. I'm from Muchwini, a small town in Uganda. I felt very helpless most of the time, hiding from town to town and sleeping in the forest. I felt like I was losing everything. Things changed for us when I became involved in the Compassion Program. Through the Compassion Program, I was able to get my first pair of shoes, get a mattress to sleep on, get the best medical care that I needed. Compassion made it possible for me to be where I am today by giving me hope. My life has changed only because someone believed that they could make a difference, that they could release a child from poverty.
Hi, this is Daren Streblow, and I'm a Compassion sponsor. Join me in bringing hope and laughter back into the lives of children. Go to DarenStreblow.com and click on the Compassion link. That's DarenStreblow.com. Welcome back, my friends, to the Daren Streblow Comedy Show. DarenStreblow.com is where you find us. And let's see, how do I set this up? This is a recording that we did in the mountains of Colorado after we had our little adventure. This is myself, Daren Streblow, along with Ken Davis, our leader, John Brannion, David Pendleton, and Tim Hawkins, after we got soundly lost in the Colorado mountains. That's right, we were going to try to do a 2-mile hike that ended up being closer to a half marathon. I wish I were kidding, but we're okay by the grace of God, and we're able to come together to tell the story. Here's me with the guys. Notice the fatigue in our voices as we tell the tale of getting lost in the Colorado mountains. In Buena Vista right now. with my friends the annual get-together of comedians by invitation of Ken Davis, who is here, along with David Pendleton, John Branyan, and Tim Hawkins. Diane Davis is here. What did I say?
No, it's just the invitation of Ken Davis.
Who
could not be with us this year.
He could not be with us. He couldn't be bothered.
Sorely missed.
They let us in the back door.
Yeah. So we started out just by a breakfast on day one, and then we headed out to the mountains. Ken brought us out to the mountains, and we...
Who cooked the breakfast? Who cooked the breakfast?
I believe it was Diane, wasn't it?
No, I cooked the breakfast.
Ken Davis cooked the breakfast. It was delicious, by the way.
Thank you.
Yes, and it was wonderful. And we headed out on four-wheelers up a mountain, which was fantastic. It was fun, not totally like life-threatening, eventful, except at one point. Well, David and I were on a four-wheeler. We were almost mauled by what's called a marmot, I believe. Tell us about the marmot.
Well, there is probably a lot of people don't know that one of the worst things that can happen to you is a marmot mauling. It is a large, overweight
Chipmunk.
Yes,
that's
what it is.
Except that it's about the size of a bread box.
That's right.
And
don't be fooled by its doughy-eyed, cuddly exterior.
Right.
That thing will take your tonsils out.
And they mind their own business, basically, but when you are speeding and really driving carelessly, it's possible to run into one.
It's possible to crush them
and they're
beneath
big
the
enough
wheels.
so that they would cause significant damage to both the vehicle and the person.
The marmot?
Well, a dent. It's an expensive machine. A dent in it is a significant damage in my mind.
And then Ken Davis, who has been traveling these mountains for over, it was 25 years?
Oh, it's 25
30
years I've been in these mountains. Yes.
Yeah.
Quite a navigator. He had the hat on, the shorts, the boots, and he said, well, I'm going to bring you up a trail. Now, he's the most seasoned as far as athletic, so we had a hard time keeping up with him. But how far was it up to the top, that first stretch? We left at about 2:30.
An hour. It took us an hour to get to where we sat down to talk and get lost.
It was a beautiful view up there.
It took an hour because they had to drag you and me up.
Yeah, there was, John and I were sort of dragging up.
They were dragging Daren
Tim's a
and
pretty
I up
good
behind them.
athlete. What accounts for how fit you are?
Well, I think you always have to be prepared because, anytime you're around Ken Davis, when you know something's going to go down, he puts on the hat, the same hat that Bill Murray wore in Caddyshack. So, we're in for the long haul. By the way, we didn't mention we had to eat 3 apples, 5 Cliff Bars, a few bottles of water, and our fingernails. That was it. So, I think, and we talked about this, let's just paint the picture. After we get off the four-wheelers, we hiked for an hour.
We hiked for an hour.
At 12,000 feet.
How far was that?
About 150 yards. and it must have been at least an elevation of 50 feet further than where we started. No, it was up around back into a mountain valley. It was a significant hike.
Yeah.
If you guys have
seen
Revenant, it was like that. Only instead of the bear, we had the marmot, which is bigger than a grizzly bear.
Fearing another marmot possible attack, we thought we should head back down. And Ken thought, let's make this interesting. So tell us what was the next thing, the next stage.
I've been up there so often. We had parked our vehicles, and we went up around a mountain. And there is a route that I have taken before that once you get around that mountain, there's a little pass there. If you climb a significant little climb up to there, then you're looking down where your vehicles are parked, and you can go down through a beautiful little stream valley filled with all kinds of animals and so on, and you walk right back to where your vehicles are. And in 30 years, this is the truth, in 30 years, I have never been lost. I've had momentary times when I wasn't sure where I was, but I have never been lost.
But you can't really say that anymore now, can you, Ken?
Well, you're getting ahead of us.
Oh, I'm sorry,
John, because we thought we're going to follow Ken. He said, not only is it going to be a different way back,
But a little shorter.
It's shorter and better and more scenic, and
More
he was
scenic.
wearing the hat, too.
Okay. And being that I was panting, I thought shorter might be better.
It might be better.
Yeah, it was almost the exact opposite of the opening to Little House on the Prairie, where they're running joyfully down to their father. Picture us running, screaming with the music from Saw, the movie Saw. That's the vibe.
So we decided to go, and we went slowly, but instead of going back down the path, we started to wind our way around the mountain.
Yeah, to this is, I'm not saying this to be funny right now. I have watched this path on Google Earth. We've Google Earthed this where we went. Today I have no idea how I allowed myself to get confused enough to believe we were going around and over a mountain when really what we did to just step over a small, relatively small area, small ridge maybe, and head down into an area where there's nothing for miles and miles and miles.
Oh, there's not nothing, Ken. There's sharp sticker bushes, and there's trees
falling
and there's
over.
holes that you can't see.
It's like
and there's
this was
mud.
kind of like God's junkyard. Like, I'm going to put all this beautiful stuff in Colorado, but this is the valley. I'm just going to throw all this extra brush and stuff.
It's like no one's ever going to go
Holes.
down here anyway.
Right.
No one's ever going to walk here, so we'll just.
These are people who survived, and I sense some ungratefulness here, basically. This is
now he's
just
taking credit
this
for
is
it.
rotten attitude.
Suddenly now he's a tour guide. Yesterday.
Here's what happened. As I made a wrong. It isn't even a wrong turn. I did something I haven't done in 20 years. I went in the wrong direction, came to a spot that looked like the spot we were headed for.
Right.
I should have known it would take longer. I should have known that we didn't actually go over the mountain. We actually just followed down the side. Ended up in a endless valley, basically, that looked like where we started. You have to admit that.
Yeah.
Am I not
for
right?
Sure. Yeah.
It looked like where we started. And it was maybe an hour and a half later
Yes.
when I realized a couple of things. Number one, I realized we weren't. No, wait, no.
Because as John said,
Yeah.
set it up, John. What did he say before he said?
Yeah, well,
what he's about
at
to
one
say?
point, when it became apparent that he didn't know exactly where he was, well, he had no idea where he was. He was very calm, and he turns to us and he goes, "Okay, guys," he goes, I'm not sure where we're at, but I know three things. He says, "I know three things. One, we're in the mountains." that was the first thing he said to us.
He's right.
Yeah. It's like that.
Oh gosh! Well, it's sort of. I sort of was thinking that, but until Ken verified, it's like, oh, we are in the mountains. Okay, well, good.
That's not like a warm-up to the three. That is number one.
Because I'm from Indiana. I don't know. I think these are mountains. The second thing he said, which was infinitely more helpful, was we're going to follow this stream. There was a stream, and we're going to go down. He said, "I know we're going to follow the stream, and I know we're going to go down."
To my credit, I am, like I say, this never happened in 30 years, but I knew this much to be prepared for it. Although I couldn't have told you in a moment. Toward the end, I had an idea, but I couldn't have told you exactly where I was. But I knew that if we continued downhill, we would run into civilization. This stream had to end up somewhere along the road that we started up Now, the longer we went, I kept thinking, how far down will this be?
Well, and that's something maybe for the kids that are listening, the scouts and whatnot. All streams end up somewhere. And you can write that down. That's from Uncle Ken Davis.
Yeah. And then we saw something that we couldn't believe. You got something else.
I actually saw a vulture sitting on
did not
sitting on
see a
top of Darren's head. Darren didn't even know it was there.
It was circling the marmot they ran over with the four-wheeler.
First, we see a little barbed wire on the ground, and we're like, "Oh, I bet that was made by humans." And then we went a little farther.
We tripped over the barbed wire.
What other option would there be?
Then we came across a cabin, just kind of miraculous.
It was the greatest cabin I've ever seen in my life.
But I want
just a few streaks of blood on the door, and a pile of bones out in front.
So this cabin, there are no roads to this cabin.
No.
There isn't even a trail to this cabin.
Driveway. We were thinking there was going to be a driveway. Okay, cabin driveway. No driveway. Not at all.
And the sign said, please enjoy this cabin and scenery, and it was locked up tighter than a drum.
But please understand, folks, we're laughing about all of this, but concern had begun to build. Because of the darkness that was coming. I was concerned. I was trying to plan in my head how we could keep everybody safe, how I might have to move ahead myself because I'm a little more familiar with, I was not familiar with this territory, but I was more familiar with how to move in this kind of terrain.
Ken and Tim and David were pretty much plodding along at a pretty good pace. I was starting to get kind of really sore in the knees, and John had a shoe that completely tore apart. So he's going over deadfalls and through swamps and over rocks, basically without a soul.
Yeah, I had no soul.
Where the sole becomes loose at the top and it just flaps.
Right.
That would hook
it was
on
like a little.
Flapping.
It would hook
or
on
John
things.
Brannion would face plant every once in a while. I think you kind of won the
What did I win?
The stamina award, because you had the
What does that
the
pay?
most to work. Yeah, exactly.
At least say this.
Yeah.
And we looked at some of those pictures tonight.
Yeah.
Were we not in some of the most spectacular country I've ever seen?
It was a beautiful place to be in danger. It was absolutely
It was a
gorgeous.
great place to
So
die.
that first one we're in the
One of my
mountains.
favorite moments, though, is we're all thinking, okay, so we just need to find a trail. We need to find a sign of civilization. We need to something where we know that we're going to make it out of here. And Ken says, guys, right over here. And we're like, oh my goch,
There's a trail.
we're free.
Right,
And he goes, look, moose.
A moose.
We don't care about the moose.
Yeah.
Can we ride?
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful surroundings. That's like Indiana Jones falling in that beautiful temple surrounded by snakes. Oh yeah, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
But there's snakes.
Now listen, this is the other thing. This is true. Some of the guys were very worried. I was not worried, except for this one fact. By the way, God was graceful to us in that although it was threatening rain, it would not rain. Had it rained, our position would have been much more perilous.
Yes.
But after we had hiked for about 3 hours, we realized we've only got a few hours of daylight left.
We've only got a couple of weeks before winter starts to set in, too.
Now that
We realized all of these things.
That really concerned me.
So we just had to follow the river again, but then that led to campfires, and then finally a bridge that led to a four-wheeler trail, which led to a road.
And then we saw just the tip of the torch of the Statue of Liberty, and we knew.
We did.
Which really, we had gone quite a distance. But then this angelic couple picked us up on the road.
I actually stopped at the civilization began to grow. There was a cabin, couple of old mines, and then another cabin, and a cabin that was had looked like it had people in it. And I went to the door and knocked, and this young couple was there, and I just asked them, "Would you please tell us where we are?" Yeah. I said, "We've got two of us here. There's three slower, less athletic people, and one without a soul." And I said, "Please tell us where they are." And they told.
He's that way. You hear that?
And their first response was, "Can we help you?" They told me we had about a mile to go. And truth be known, if we would have had to walk that extra mile, it would have probably been dark by the time we got everything and got back to get the people. But they gave us a ride, actually went back to pick up our friends. We got the pickup truck, went up and got our machines.
We looked like the Beverly Hillbillies driving into Tin Cup Alley, wherever we were, or into St. Elmo.
Loaded in the back of the truck.
This was Caleb and Jesse. that picked us up. So thank you guys for what you did.
They were the sweetest people. They were just, they were willing to help us in any way they possibly could. We were so affected by what had happened to us, we couldn't even find the truck on the main road where we had parked. And they just helped us all the way, and were willing to do anything. To
Caleb and Jesse. And if you guys are listening to this, which, well, of course they're not, because they live way out in the boondocks where there's no radio
They're
signal.
out right now trying to find comedians wandering
Never
through the
mind.
woods
Forget I
to
said
pick them
that.
up.
That was a stupid thing to say.
Thanks to them for that. And how many miles do you think we ended up traveling?
I don't think. I actually had a watch that kept track of it. 12 some miles we walked.
12 and a half miles.
Kept track of the
This isn't
steps.
walking down the road. This is part of it climbing at exhausting pace, and part of it stumbling through brush, and then that muck that we had to go through. There was
I'd forgotten all about that, Ken.
Oh yeah, high pieces of solid grass.
Yeah.
With huge deep holes that you couldn't see, that you would step into.
I've still got half a cup of it mashed between my toes. Remember, I didn't have a shoe, Ken. So I'd take a step and the muck would flip up in the air.
Yeah, but I was telling Daren earlier that it just, something like that, to be honest, it's just really, it's a good to have experience like that. Like, I learned a lot. Like, one thing I learned is that I'll never do that again. I'll never do that again.
So you have a lot of time to think when you're doing a 12.5-mile hike through God's brush pile.
Beautiful creation.
And the thought occurred to me, we're in a bit of danger, but we're together as friends, kind of encourage each other along the way. Tim was high-fiving people, and David was giving encouragement to John, who was crawling on his hands and knees at one point, and Ken was kind of leading away. But the thing, we were encouraging each other. We had Ken as our leader. We were really depending on him. But we always, even as we kept walking, the sound of the river was really the thing that gave us direction. What are the spiritual parallels to that, guys? What do you think?
I think you're trying to twist everything into you yelling, "God, where are you? God, where are you?"
Why have you forsaken us?
Yeah, I'm God, why? I think I say that's actually God, why? God, why? God, why God? Verbatim, that's what Daren.
I don't know about spiritual parallels. I do know this. For myself, I was certain that this would be a survivable experience. I didn't want anyone to get hurt.
Absolutely.
However, it drove me to a very humble place of where I would have said, this could never happen to me. I'm trained here. I've walked these mountains. I would never get people in this situation. As you guys know, I said I was very ashamed that I had allowed this to happen. But what it helped me realize is we're not always in control. We do get in situations where we really have to lean on God. And toward the end of that walk, we got together and prayed together. And it wasn't a panic prayer. In my mind, it was just saying, Lord, you're in control here. I'm not the boss. Help us get out of here. I'll use all of the knowledge that I have to help us get out of here. Help Daren not to stop freaking out over the water. He was so afraid of the water. It's hard to describe just on radio. And even if you looked at pictures, you'd go, oh, that's pretty.
Not that bad.
It's you have mountains on either side, and from my perspective as the leader, I don't recognize any of them. Yeah. From where we are, it doesn't look anything like where I expected to end up. All I knew was this, is that if you do follow the river downhill, it will eventually lead to civilization. You've got to keep going down. And man, when we started getting close, the signs kept getting more and more numerous, and this bonded us as friends.
Is that what you think?
Yes, I do think it bonded those of us who have any kind of spiritual nature and a soul. Those of us who have a soul.
David had to relace his shoes today.
David had to relace his shoes.
Yesterday's ordeal.
Yeah. I noticed
he's one of the white K-Swiss, the John McEnroe through the just harshest terrain you'll ever think about.
Dave Pendleton is in surprisingly good shape.
He
look at
is.
him and you think that dude is just kind of a wimp and a wuss, and he doesn't look that smart. And
the entire trip without moving his lips. I thought that was amazing.
He didn't move his lips.
And thank you guys. I do have to say this. Thank you guys for your understanding, and you have not berated me for this at all. And I believe that if I ask you to go on another trip tomorrow, you would trust me and know that this would not happen again.
Diane Davis, wife of Ken Davis, were you worried at all about us when we didn't come home at the appointed time?
Yes. I was looking up the number for search and rescue.
Where would you have told them to start looking?
I heard that you were headed up for Tin Cup Pass, so that's where I would have sent them that direction.
Well, we was headed up for Tin Cup Pass. That was a duty.
You know what it's telling, though, that she had to look up the number for search and rescue, and she doesn't have it on speed dial.
This is search and rescue. We have no sign of the group, but there's a dead marmot up here.
No, here's the phone. Hey, Diane.
Well, I love you guys. Thanks for...
I love you. I love you even more.
Getting to...
So good to see your faces another day.
Yes. And thank you, Ken, for hosting this weekend. You're a great leader, and I would go out with you again anytime.
Great, man. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for listening to the Daren Streblow Comedy Show minicast. Selected portions from the Daren Streblow Comedy Show. If you want to hear the full show, pick up our free app for iPhone, Droid, and tablets over at DarenStreblow.com. That's DarenStreblow.com. Also, for more entertaining and encouraging podcasts and videos, check out our broadcast partners at the E Squared Media Network over at eSquaredMediaNetwork.com, eSquaredMediaNetwork.com.